Well, we've had about all the high color stories we can stand here during the break. We've been bringing back the memories of days past, and it sure is a lot of fun. There's nothing like football season, it really is. I love other sports. Yeah, well, you know we love other sports and we're involved in them, our kids. But I mean, gee whiz, man. I mean, football in the Valley and South Texas in general, pretty good lick. Well, let's talk about some of the better teams, I think, pound for pound in the Valley. I'm not trying to disparage the 6As. I'm just telling you that I think, once again, the 5A teams that we have in both districts, particularly 31, are very good. Comment?
Yeah, 32 5A is going to be really, really fun to watch. You got Donna, Edcouch-Elsa, and Mercedes. You got Brownsville Page, Brownsville Porter.
This is better.
And you got some of the old Brownsville kids, that, Billy Garza, that's on the staff. Jason, you got some of those guys that, the kids looked up to that are now playing. And you should be proud and should take anything they can from those guys. And down north is
they're coming.
Second year program, so they should be looking forward to bettering themselves from last year's.
Well, the Bears are the one that I'm interested to know how they're going to do. I know about Alex Mansa, a good athlete. Castaneda is back, but they lost a lot of kids off that good football team. So are they going to be as good again? I don't know.
I went there, and I had a chance to look at the team. They're going to pass the ball a little bit more than they have in the past, and I don't know if that's a benefit to them because they used to be a grinded out team. Even when they, in the last couple of years, under Montefiore, they've done really well with the pass. But in this district, I don't know. It's very hard because you look at all the offensive powers in this district. I don't know if they have the talent to compete with Edcouch, Donna, PSJA Southwest.
So they best be able to play some D, and they have had good defenses in the past. What about Southwest, though? They were so close last year, those Havillanders. I really thought they were going to make it. They bring back some size on the offensive line. They bring back a good runner. They lose their quarterback. But this kid Ramirez, I heard, is the real deal as a defensive end. They got some big kids on that team.
What about Mission Veterans? Another playoff team last year.
Well, they're in 31.
They're in 31. Yeah,
they're in 31. You want me to tell you the truth? I think that they're going to be one of the best teams around. I feel like they've got enough talent overall, and a quarterback in Diego Hernandez, I think, is the real McCoy. If they can get a little bit of interior line play, I could see them finishing in the top 5. In fact, when we look at our top 20 later, they're right up there. I think that Vela, Betts, and Sherland is going to be nuts. And don't count out Roma, and don't count out some others. Rio Grande is young.
Rio Grande, yeah.
They're young, and they've got some talent.
Getting back to the PSJA Southwest, not to jump around, but,
that's right.
but PSJA Southwest, if you think about it, they were 1 game away from making the playoffs last year. They bring back their line, their running back, and in that offense, it's like old PSJ with Mel Rios, where it's going to be 3 yards, a cloud of dust,
and then boom.
But they pass the ball a little bit more than Mel's team. But I think that team is, if not the 4th seed, I think they're in the playoffs. They're in one of the playoff seeds.
Well, there's a vote for PSJA Southwest. That's a relatively young team, and they've climbed the mountain to where they can see the top of the precipice. Whether or not they get over this year remains to be seen. What about Mercedes? Now, they were one of the class teams of the Valley last year. They had the great quarterback, great receivers, that defense. Roel Garcia was one of my favorite players ever. I wish I had his football card. Him and the kid from PSJA last year, like Bobby. I love that guy. Now, Mercedes still has good receivers back.
They do.
They've still got 2 great linebackers.
They lost their big target.
Josh was the man last year.
They're still going to have Daniel Martinez, Brandon Gutierrez, Raul.
See, Brandon's the guy.
Yeah.
Brandon is a good football player.
Yeah.
And Daniel's a very good position. So they've got receivers.
I expect them to be the #1 guy.
And Zach Gomez. All right, that's a great name. Almost like, was he off of Saved by the Bell? Zach Gomez.
A healthy Isaac Vela is going to really help them out.
He's a good stepper.
100%.
He's a good stepper.
Yeah. And so they should be able to balance it a little bit more. They have a new quarterback.
That's the guy I'm telling you about, Gomez.
EJ Science or Zach Gomez.
Zach had 3 touchdowns in scrimmage.
Yeah. Coach Adami did tell me, don't be surprised if Gomez does get
sophomore.
He's only a sophomore, so however it goes this year, but the future does look promising if he's able to perform with the bright lights on.
Yeah. How long does it take them to make that switch? Because seniors usually start, and then once you see, okay, and I've seen it before other schools, seniors start, and then all of a sudden, okay, it's not as bright as we thought it would be. Let's take a look at the sophomore. and see what he can do.
Well, I mean, we saw it a few years ago with Isaiah Garza.
Right.
And he was able to take over, and then he became newcomer of the year in that
That's
district.
right.
And then a few years ago, we saw Presas do the same thing.
Presas. I'm gonna miss Presas.
Yeah, he was
Man,
fun
he was
to watch.
I love
something.
Marcus Russell.
And so, yeah, when you know, it's just, when you have that opportunity, it's up to you to come in, step up, and,
Right.
and show everybody and impress the coaches. That's what they want to see.
Well, you know that Alvarado and Quintanilla, Fabricio, it's a great name. I like to say it, Fabricio. Those guys are great linebackers. I'm looking to see who comes in is that big run stuffer on the front line. I'm not quite sure who that's going to be.
Well, going back to the linebackers, the Tigers have had an all-state linebacker for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So that shows you in the system who's the one that make the
Put
plays.
the best players there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they'll line up those linebackers. They run a 3-4 defense.
Yeah.
That's the switch that Coach Adami made after Uribe made.
Right.
And yeah, those linebackers are running around. They'll either pass rush or they'll back
Yeah,
there
they're
and
everywhere.
pass
Man.
cover.
Alvarado
So,
sometimes. like
yeah, they
that.
play from
That's
sideline
good,
to
man.
sideline in that scheme.
Yeah.
And so, getting all-state recognition in Mercedes, it shows,
They even had all-state linebackers in the 80s, man. Remember when I see one of those guys with Pete Vela? Okay, so Mercedes should be pretty solid. Donna should be pretty solid. A lot of people are touting Donna. Texas football picked Donna to win that district. What do you think of them, Al?
I think it's going to come down to Donna or Edcouch. And that's not belittling Mercedes' chances, but I think that if you look at talent-wise, when you got Amani Bowman, you've got Doherty, the receivers aren't bad.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to how well does Doherty and Bowen, how well do they play together?
How do they play together? Yeah, in the same field with Paul Guerra as a running back.
I like that big board.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. We talked about it earlier on an earlier segment. Got to favor the teams that have returning quarterbacks. That would be Donna, and that would be Edcouch, because by my money, Aguinaga is second to none in the valley. I really feel that way. He's ready to explode. And boy, you talk about a proliferation of weapons that Edcouch has. Man, they're going to be good.
When you think of Donna's offense, you think high formation, pound. But since Coach took over after Manny Moreno, he's really tried to emphasize that passing. He's at least tried.
Right,
I mean,
right.
when they had
Multiple, be more
versatile,
versatile.
more multiple, versatile, right? But when they've had to run, and the passing's not working, they do that. But he's really tried to emphasize that running, and he really feels like he can do that right now with Doherty, and even with Amante back there, or maybe using Amante as a receiver.
Kid's special, man.
Yeah.
He's quick, he's
He
strong.
flies. He
yeah,
flies.
he can
runs,
play
he's
the
like
game.
Robert Smith,
wow.
Viking.
Yeah.
But when he runs, when he hits the hole, it's almost like a dead sprint, and it looks very smooth with him.
Hey, let me add this. Smooth, yes, but don't try to hit him.
Oh, no.
Because he packs a punch, too. Good God.
He did lose weight. He went
Yeah.
down from, I think, 220, whatever he was last year when he came back from the injury. And now he's at 185, I believe, is what
He's
the
probably
trainers
got
are telling
more
me.
funny business.
Yeah, he's on a paleo diet, what the trainers are telling me.
Oh, okay.
But if he's faster than what he was last year, and he can still, run over people, he's going to be Trevor
Hut.
Spates-ish.
Said Hut. Boom.
On
radio.
paper, I can't recall Donna having this kind of potential on offense
Okay.
in quite some time.
That's something to
so
say, okay.
That should be really, that says a lot. It should be really exciting.
So you're saying that the last game of the season is going to be bananas?
I think
Isn't
so.
that Donna and Edcouch?
If health,
Yeah,
they can stay healthy.
all things being equal.
All
right?
equal.
Okay.
Yeah, everything stays the way it should be. The cards, the way it should.
And that's why I'm telling you guys at the beginning, as we came together, that those 5A's, pound for pound, is about as fun as any of them, and maybe as talented. Let's switch to 31. Velo Veterans and Sherland. Sherland, you look at some of the names on their roster, you're not really familiar. I know Seth Carter's a great athlete, and I know Beto Ruiz is a great player on defense, but man, there's a lot of kids whom we do not know yet. That doesn't mean they won't be good, right? I mean, every year people say Sherland's going to feel the split, and they ain't felt it. They were 12-0 last year, until they left.
I think they're going to be good. I just
Aren't
don't
they?
think they're going to be very deep. And in that district, with the amount of games that you're going to have that are meaningful games, and I don't want to say that there aren't games that are
I know what you
meaningful,
mean. Uber meaningful.
Yes.
Like,
When
Two at least,
when
one,
you've got to
three
play Rio, Roma, Vets, Sherland, Pioneer, and then Bella, you're going to go through a gauntlet of tests, and if you're not very deep, you're going to kill your season before it even begins.
So where are some of the seniors? They over at Pioneer.
Mhm.
Pioneer, for the first time, has got some seniors. They're bigger, stronger. I expect them to be fairly decent this year. Do you think that they're going to have a chance?
I mean, they have the talent. I mean, we know what kind of talent Sherland had year in and year out.
Yeah.
And then a
So
lot of
why
those
shouldn't they
went to
eventually be pretty good?
Sure,
Right? Yeah.
sure.
And they competed. I mean, look, 7-on-7 is 7-on-7, but they competed in 7-on-7, which for their skill players, that's a lot. That says a lot because there's a growth over that last year from being backups to now finally.
They don't have to find out where the
coming
bathroom
on.
is in the field house. They know it. They know the system. They're bigger, stronger, faster than they were. I think Pioneer's got a chance. I think them and Roma also have a chance. Roma's got some secondary kids back. I like Pena. I like Escoto. This guy had a big scrimmage.
And what I really like is that they got that first playoff win in school's history.
Oh, man, was that a shocking, amazing win or what? Man, they're still, what over there.
Well,
Just
and they
saying,
beat a district champion.
Oh, man, and they almost beat GP. They had
Yeah,
them.
they did.
They had
That's
them
right.
at the end. They got that kid Espinosa's a little running back that's good. They got some other kids. Roma's is one of these years where they're going to have to show us, or they'll like to show us, that wasn't a one-shot wonder. That this is the way they are. And I remember we've been talking the whole show about the program mentality. In other words, who do you think you are? And who do other people think you are? Because there's still some people like, Roma, they're not that good. They just barely made it.
The
I don't
respect
know,
factor.
man. The respect factor and the belief factor.
Correct.
So this is a big year for Roma because now they can say, oh, okay, sucker, we made it again. Now what? You know what I mean?
Right.
They could.
Right.
But what a district. Oh, God, I mean, that's a tough district.
And you like Mission Vets.
I do.
You like Bella. Mission Vets they're going to be tested early in the season, and then they go almost through I don't want to say a cakewalk, but the games they should win,
Yeah.
and then they face Vela the last week of the season.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, which is incredible because, Vela's going to be tested throughout the season. They're almost going to have,
Play South, yeah.
and Vets is going to have what's the nice way of saying it? They're going to be able to get ready for that game.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. Whoever comes in that game on the right kilter, who is on and who is not. I like Vets because I love Libano. Great defensive back. Hits you, he's like a freight train. I love Hugo Cabrera, but Mendiola too is a good linebacker. They need, the great guru spoke. I better not make Gilpin mad at me, it's pretty tough. They need some interior line play. Okay, they lost some of those big kids that they had last year. They got the receivers, come on now, man. Roman is great, Tovar had a great scrimmage, and I think Adam Solis, if he's still playing the best, they got tons of receivers, man.
Well, pass protection will be very important.
Well, that's the thing, interior lines. And if they can find good offensive linemen, and I'm hearing that they have them, they can win the district. In fact, I think they could win the district very easily. And Vela.
And Vela's filling holes. I mean, not just player holes, like losing Ever Lopez. They're filling coaching holes also. They lost their OC to DC.
They made some switches, didn't they?
Yeah, so they're having to bring in some people. And the OC happened in the summer, so
Yeah.
you don't know if there's going to be a drop in production at that point. I mean, because a new quarterback, having to bring in a new coach, you might see that.
I'll tell you this, 10-2, and almost beat that Victoria team. It hadn't been for that one madman who's the best player I ever saw almost. The pressure in a way, and I want to be negative, is kind of on them. Because you go from 0 wins to 5 wins to 10 wins, it starts to flatten out that curve of progress. So then what does that mean? Another playoff win. In other words, once you get to be really good, it's hard to stay there. We said the opposite earlier in the show, but on the other hand, it's still a very new program. It's a danger year for them. They got the talent. They got just as good a receivers as Vets. They've got a better running back. Robert Guerra is among the best in the valley, maybe in the region.
So the
1,500
question
yards.
is, how do they handle being the target?
That's it. That's it. And so we'll find out. And new coaches may bring new ideas and they may bring the buzz, but they don't have the continuity from year to year. So that may be a problem. I don't know, man. I still see them being really good. Their defensive line has got to come along, and the secondary has had some bumps and bruises, but I feel like they'll be good.
And they're going to go as far as Pedraza can take them right now.
That's right, baby. Pedraza. He was at Vela. He transferred to Memorial. He led them to the playoffs. Let it be said, okay? This is not some callow youth. I mean, the dude was a quarterback for a team that made the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the scrimmage, he made some real good throws. And look, with Michael Arguelles, Elijah Reyna, Eddie Luna, any number of guys, receivers, Johnny Davila, who's bigger and stronger, you watch, he's going to explode. You don't have to do that much. You just make the throws and let those kids run, because Arguelles took one. I'm not going to pick on the team they played. I won't even name it. Arguelles took a screen pass. The first dude tried to hit him and missed, and bing, he was off to the races. 6'1", 200, strong as a bull. If you don't tackle him, he's gone. He's gone, man. He's a college. TCU wants him. TCU wants that kid. So they got the weapons. What Fabian has to do is just be himself. And I wrote it the other day in the paper, Fabe the Fabe, okay? Because he's good, all right? He's fine. He don't have to be Eber Lopez because I don't know if there'll be another one of him for a while. That dude was something. He was Clarence Cruz made over. You remember the Edinburgh quarterback from way back when. Fabian just has to do his thing, lead the team, and he'll be cool. But he can't try to do too much. The tendency sometimes is want to get in there and go, oh my God, I gotta, score 28 points. Now he's left-handed, so I mimic left-handed. He just played. He's good. He's proven himself. He just not get too crazy and just play the game. And he'll make plays when people will forget about him and start looking for those backs in Robert Garrett. I think they're going to be fine. It's a great district. Sherland, they're still going to be as good as Sherland, or are they? I don't know. But like I said, I quit thinking that maybe they're not going to be so good because they're always so good. But you can't lose Madden and Landes and have no problem, no hiccup. Honestly, I mean, those are two of the best players. Landes,
on the outside.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Landes is one of the top 50 players. They had that thing that Bonner did a while back, the top 100 players. I haven't seen too many better than Sean Landes, have you? I mean, honestly, the guy was amazing. He really was amazing. I know we just played 20 minutes ago, so we're like, well, maybe not. I think he deserves to be in that pantheon. We'll see how he does at Kingsville, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, Roma's got a shot. What about the other teams over here? I know we talked about them a little bit. They've got some youth, but who knows? Maybe they can come up too.
Yeah, and Valley View's got a brand new coaching staff. They're coming in.
They're rebooting.
They're trying to get numbers right now. I can see them maybe making headway next year. I think this year is more of a rebuilding year, trying to implement your offense and trying to build a foundation.
And if you're them, I'm not saying you count on 3 losses right off the bat, but I mean, Sherland, they love vets. Just remember that triumvirate. It's like the old, the Romans back in the day, Octavian, and so I don't know. That's a good district. The 5As are great, man. I told you the 5As.
Well, I was going to say, to me, it's also a big year for Coach Longoria at RGC.
Yeah.
How are they going to bounce back?
They've been every other year types.
Right.
Right? Every other year they make the playoffs, they win a few. So, I mean, we'll see.
See, the team we forgot to mention in 32-5A is Edcouch-Elsa.
Really?
Yeah, we did forget. We talked Donna, we didn't do Edcouch-Elsa.
Dennis Silver's going to be mad at me.
Aggie Naga is probably...
Some changes were made.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about, MVP in that district, maybe the Valley, you look at him.
He's got it, man. He's got it,
What changes are you talking about?
Quarterback. Well, no, not a quarterback. Offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, what happened?
We know who the quarterback
Moved
is.
back to Detroit or what?
Offensive coordinator. Gene Garza's back.
The man, the guru. All right, so
And he's coached a lot of great quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
A lot of great quarterbacks.
now he gets to play with another one there.
I asked him, I go, Marco, talk to me about Marco. I know you can't compare him to some of the guys you coach, but just kind of give me an idea of who he reminds you of.
Right.
And he kind of told me that he reminds me of AJ Garza a little bit when he was
Quicker.
in La Villa. What's these Nettles? The Gracie
Yeah.
Nettles.
Oh my God, 42. Yeah.
So that really says a lot. And he even said Eric Nino a little bit. He has some Eric Nino in him. So
Whoa.
if this guy can be a mixture of those three, how
Yeah.
scary is that with the weapons he has?
Now with the weapons, here's the key. With the weapons he had,
Yeah.
because they got Flores, Segura, Tay Valdez. They've got a big tight end. Moises is a player. I mean, you look around. Interior lines again. They're like vets. I know they got Contreras back, I think, on defensive line. Sammy Alanis is a great linebacker.
All state.
Yeah. Offensive line wise and defensive line wise outside of Julio, let's see, right? I assume they're going to be tough. But I mean, that's their, and it's not a question mark, that's their area of interest as they come into the season because the back 7 on each side shoot.
What we got to see is how does Marco respond to the new offense? That guy's known for running, leaving the pocket,
Right.
taking off.
Freelancing.
Yeah.
So now he got to be a little bit more.
And
Coach Garza-
Coach Garza really wants him to stay in the pocket and look for his receivers. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, the weapons are there.
God, I mean,
So
you ain't got to run,
he
son.
wants-
Throw
he
the
wants
ball.
it
Yeah.
to run, but let that be the second thing, not
Right.
the first thing.
I was at their scrimmage against Hidalgo, and I got to see, the first time they scrimmaged anybody under Gene's offense.
Yeah.
And his offense, it's always been good.
In up-tempo.
Yeah. I think what people in Edcouch have to realize, because I heard it from the stands, why are they passing the ball downfield so much? And I'm like, you have to.
That's
go
where
for
that's
run.
where the goal line is.
And I talked to Coach Money Chilad, and I asked him about it, and he said, well, we're going to use the pass to open up the run, which You have to do it nowadays because
Yes,
they're loading the box.
They didn't do that when he was number 85 for the Jackets. He was.
Well, but they're loading. People loaded up the box against Edcouch and dared them to pass. Now they're going to pass, and now you're going to open up the middle. So I think you're going to see a different Edcouch-Elsa team this year.
Well, I feel like they have about 8 or 10 of the best players around, and that's a recipe for success.
So we got to mention Donna North, second
Yeah, we
program.
do. In other words, and it fits in with our theme of the show, which is, okay, team identity, what do you believe? They've got to be better. They seem to have done all right so far.
They brought pretty much everybody back.
Yep.
Everybody. The thing we got to mention is, Coach said, he's come on record as saying, at least last year we competed,
Right.
which is great. But now you want to see if you can develop some W's. I mean, unlike Donna that has all those trophies and all those things, all that tradition.
1935.
These guys, the guy that built that tradition. But they did compete. They gave Mission a scare.
That's
they
right.
only lost by a touchdown.
That's
last
right,
year.
yeah. That's good
And they
ball.
gave Brownsville Porter a scare.
Mhm.
So even though they didn't win, at least they competed. And
Yeah.
Coach South said, he emphasized that again.
Well,
that
just
they got to build on that.
Just use Vela as an example. They were 0-10 and got their butt beat. Then they were 5-5, and now we're talking about them in the top 5. Like I said earlier, Harlingen South, the 3rd year they were in the dance. So, I mean, it can happen. And with the pass, things happen more quickly because it's an equalizer. You got a bunch of studs, we'll throw the ball around a little bit and make people nervous.
And there's one thing we know about Donna kids overall is that they are physical, they're hungry to win.
They love the game,
They're
man.
not intimidated.
Who's
by
the
anybody.
biggest, toughest back around? Dominic Ochoa. If he gets any kind of blocking, he's going to have 1,200 yards.
Right, I think so. I think so. He has the potential. And they have the O-line back, the quarterback is back, the receivers are back, on defense.
It's a fun year to be them because nobody is expecting you to be that great. And then if you come up and make some improvement, you might even sneak in. Who knows? I mean, in other words, you just keep rising to the level and you'll reach it sooner or later.
Right.
We'll see what they do. What did we say? The 5As are good, man. They're fun. There's a lot of compelling stories. By no means any better or worse than the 6As. We'll be PC. But I'm going to enjoy seeing some of those ball games. I know.
How about Mercedes in their new football stadium?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of. All right.
We're going to miss the
old
jungle.
one.
We're going to miss the jungle.
Are they still going to have the electric guitar going?
I hope so.
Oh, I think so. They have to.
I was joking with Coach Adami that I kind of wish that they had one more game at the jungle, like maybe against LaFeria.
Were you there? We were there at that last game, weren't we?
Edcouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
We were there.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody was there.
I kind of coached.
Everybody was somebody.
Yeah, I joked with Coach Adami, like I kind of wish he doesn't have one more game at the jungle just for fun. And then if it worked the right way, you open up with Edcouch-Elsa as the first game.
Here's what we'll do. We won't tell nobody until the night before. We'll just invite everybody out and we'll go out in the middle of the night and play. No parents, just the players.
No lights.
Yeah, I know lights. All right, we're gonna. You can always count on Mike. We're gonna move on from 5As. We're gonna go down to the sub 5As. Let's see if we can't score a few playoff victories this year. Because man, that was a tough group we had to play last year in the 4As and 3As, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out after a break.
Meet Karen, a small business owner who worked in her home and a local coffee shop. Her house is comfortable but isolating and not a place to meet clients. Add to that the distractions of family life, kids, pets, and chores waiting to get done. She works late at night to catch up. The coffee shop has free Wi-Fi and great coffee, but it's not built for business. From the noisy espresso machine to the chatty couple at the next table over, the lack of privacy proves challenging to get work done or to meet clients without being awkward. She tried getting an office in a business center, but didn't see value in spending money on an office where she would still be alone most of the time. Karen looked online to find what others are doing. That's when she learned about co-working and found the Grindstone, the first co-working space in the Rio Grande Valley. Grindstone Co-working is a membership-based office built for people like Karen, a space designed for privacy when you need it and collaboration when you want it. The Grindstone provides private offices, meeting rooms, phone booths, a place to lounge, and a cafe area in a tech-friendly, inspiring environment. The affordable membership options at the Grindstone include community events, Wi-Fi, and endless coffee. Karen's business is thriving and she's never been happier.